And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this Friday, the 3rd of June 2022, right here in Brisbane. And what a wonderful day it is. Cold and chilly, 13 degrees, but sunny. So a glorious day here in Brisbane. And I tell you what, we've got all that humidity out of the air already. People have already started getting dry skin and chapped lips. So that is a sign that we are back into our Queensland weather. And what a big and huge weekend this is going to be, with so many functions and events. Of course, we have a picnic in the park, Queen's Jubilee picnic, in the Botanical Gardens, everyone getting together. That will be wonderful. And of course, there's so many things that have been planned tonight. Is Gopio Queensland's fundraising dinner, which is almost a sold-out event at Sunpack, and raising funds, much-needed funds for for hosting of India Day Fair. Well, of course, right now, making news worldwide and everyone's watching is the streets of the mall for Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebration. So what a joyous occasion. And what a joyous occasion, and what a beautiful, beautiful occasion that is, and just amazing and wonderful to see. Well, right now, coming back to our local segments, let's go to Sydney, where 2 people have died in that house fire. And next up, we go to Northern Territory, where the police have located a body of a woman after the leg was discovered.
2 days after a human leg was found on the side of a busy highway on the outskirts of Darwin, police make another gruesome discovery.
Police attended a location in Jenkins Road, Virginia, where they located a deceased Aboriginal female. We believe this is the victim of the collision.
With help from the public, police yesterday identified a vehicle of interest. A 23-year-old Palmerston man was then questioned by police. He was arrested, the vehicle seized and a search warrant executed. Further investigations leading to the arrest of a 50-year-old woman and the seizure of a second vehicle from Winnelly.
It will be alleged that the 23-year-old male was the driver involved in the collision impacting the victim. It will be further alleged that the 50-year-old female has assisted him in removing the deceased to another location in an attempt to conceal the crime.
Police.
And that is all under investigations, and we'll find out what's happening on that. So we've been to Sydney, Northern Territory. Right now, let's go to Tasmania.
Game over. Love it. Great for Tasmania. You can make your dreams a reality if you believe in them. Adams to tie it up. Oh my. Unbelievable from Josh Adams.
I certainly think it was out of the ordinary to see what Tasmania did this season in the NBL in its first season. A smallish franchise within the competition, a bunch of players that were pulled from all sorts of different paths, and an American coach who just created a culture. It truly was an extraordinary tale.
And quite an extraordinary feat there in the Tasmania. Well done. Well, right now, here in Queensland, there's an independent inquiry into the forensic lab and the DNA testing failures.
A welcome sight for a battered industry.
Cruising is back.
The first cruise ship in more than 2 years docked at Brisbane's new terminal. But on dry ground, tensions were high as the Premier was steered to other issues. She faced a grilling over the state's forensics laboratory after Queensland Police confirmed they're reviewing hundreds of sexual assault cases amid potential issues with DNA standards.
This is serious, okay? Do not for one moment think that I do not think these issues are serious.
Rape victims may have been denied justice.
Last year, police requested additional testing on samples related to sex offences, which the lab had said didn't have enough DNA for processing. But some of those samples returned a usable profile.
For sexual assault cases, that was as much as 66% of samples. The Queensland Police review demonstrates without a doubt that the lab isn't working efficiently, and they're giving incorrect advice to the police.
The Premier says the government has already commissioned a review into the forensics lab.
The Health Minister is absolutely committed to seeing what is going on and fixing this.
The Queensland Health Review is manifestly inadequate.
Ms Palaszczuk insists the review needs to take its course, but hasn't ruled out further inquiries.
Nothing is off the table.
Kate McKenna, ABC News.
Quite serious allegations there, and of course self and those forensic testing, very, very important to get that right. Those allegations there are quite serious, and of course as the Premier said, nothing's off the table, everything's under investigation. Well, right now let's go to South Australia, where a jet ski driver has been jailed.
3 years jail for the inexperienced jet ski rider who took the life of 14-year-old Cooper Henke.
It wasn't enough. We're glad he's going to jail, but yeah.
Cooper Henke and his 10-year-old friend were frolicking in the River Murray near Blanchetown in an orange inflatable kayak. It was a bright sunny day and the two boys were wearing life jackets when Daniel Patrick Liddell rode his jet ski straight into the kayak. The 44-year-old didn't brake or swerve. Your grossly negligent lookout was not a momentary lapse. The kayaking victims were always visible and should have been seen by you had you kept a proper lookout.
Liddell had been celebrating the end of the year with up to 20 mining workmates. He'd been drinking heavily the night before and had taken some cocaine and cannabis. The court heard the next morning he had 2 puffs of methamphetamine to help cure his hangover before getting on the jet ski. He had never driven a jet ski before.
It was inherently dangerous and an unacceptable risk for you to operate the jet ski. Liddell pleaded guilty to causing death and harm by dangerous driving on his first court appearance and later apologised in court to Cooper Henke's family.
I thought it was a reasonably fair sentence. I thought that it was balanced, and clearly he's going to spend a bit of time in custody.
Liddell will be eligible for parole in September 2024. Claire Campbell, ABC News, Adelaide.
Quite unfortunate, and of course, circumstances leading on into that tragic incident could have been avoided as per the verdict, and so hence these sentences. Well, right now the Energy Council is looking at the upward pressure on gas prices while we've got such a large production here in Australia.
The energy market is under a lot of stress at the moment, Lisa. There's not a systemic market failure underway, but there is a coincidence of factors occurring in the market which is putting a lot of pressure on the wholesale price, and that in turn is going to put pressure on retail bills as well.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of reasons why, and it seems to be a big mix of issues that have come together in what Jim Chalmers was calling a perfect storm. Where does it leave consumers, though? I know my sister is one of those who got the note from Reamp to warn her that she should leave the business. What should people be doing?
Well, firstly, most consumers won't experience the kind of wholesale market price spikes we're seeing at the moment, and that's because their retailers have hedging contracts to ensure their supply costs are smoothed out over time. However, because there is general upward pressure on prices, people are going to experience higher bills over the coming year. And what we do recommend is that people pick up the phone and call their retailer and make sure they're on the best and cheapest deal for their circumstances.
We had so many smaller retailers that have come about over the last few years. Is this a message to people that they're better off going to a bigger retailer? What's safest for them right now?
Well, not necessarily. The fact that we've got a lot of retail businesses out there competing for customers is generally good news, because it means there's a lot more cheap deals out there. But what we want to ensure is that the viability of retail businesses is sustained, and we want to make sure that retailers can hang on to those customers and continue to supply them. But from a retail customer's perspective, the most important thing you can do is make sure you're on the best deal for your circumstances. Have a think about energy efficiency measures as well, which might help you manage your consumption of energy through winter. Yes, it's going to be a challenging period, we think.
And Sarah, just finally, the Federal Energy Minister is meeting with his state counterparts. What can actually be done, and does any of it make a difference in the short term?
Well, as Jim Chalmers and Minister Bowen have indicated, there is no silver bullet solution to this crisis, and although it's a challenging situation, the market is managing itself quite well, but we really welcome Minister Bowen's engagement with both industry and his state and territory counterparts and the market operator to examine whether there are measures that can be taken to increase supply and ease that pressure we're seeing in the wholesale market.
Of course, there is always that upward pressure which has been putting on. Well, right now, viewer discretion is required in this next clip, where Ben Robert Smith witness tells court he doesn't know how Afghan men were killed.
For the final time, Ben Robert Smith watched a former colleague testify about their shared past. An April 2009 raid of the Whiskey 108 Taliban compound was back in the spotlight. The witness, person 81, was then the SAS troop commander. He said he didn't see two men surrender from a secret tunnel, as claimed by witnesses for the newspapers being sued. Our case is the old man and the man with the prosthetic leg were found in the tunnel, were taken prisoner, and then were murdered by one or more of person 4, person 5 and Mr. Robert Smith without your knowledge or authorisation, the publisher's barrister put to him. From my recollection of events, I couldn't speculate on that. Did you observe any conduct by person 4, person 5 or Mr. Robert Smith that caused you to have a suspicion that they had pucked or murdered anybody? The veterans barrister asked later. No. Yesterday, person 81 said nobody raised allegations of unlawful activity with him in 2009, and if they had, he would have reported it. Ben Robert Smith insists the men were armed insurgents killed outside the compound. He's suing over what he says are false allegations of unlawful killings, bullying and domestic violence reported in 2018. When this trial began last year, it had a 10-week estimate, but it spanned 23 weeks on and off, largely due to COVID-19. Ben Robert Smith's career, friendships, reputation, marriage and affair have all been covered in evidence from 40 witnesses. After tomorrow, the parties are expected to break to prepare closing submissions, which will...
We'll keep an eye on that closing submissions and see what is different news. Once again, in taking into account Afghanistan, this is the Taliban eradicating, Afghanistan's opium cultivation.
Under the close watch of armed guards, these farmers are ripping up their livelihoods. Opium producers face an uncertain future under the iron fist of Taliban rule, promising to eradicate the drug trade at all costs.
Those who continue to seed and cultivate poppies will be arrested and tried according to Sharia laws in relevant courts.
It's the latest blow to a struggling sector, desperate for a financial lifeline amid the country's worst drought in years. Afghanistan produces more than 80% of the world's opium, a trade valued at $3.8 billion in 2021. It made up 14% of the country's gross domestic product last year, easily exceeding the value of its legal exports, according to the UN. Which means the ban, introduced in April, will devastate millions of impoverished farmers and labourers who rely on their crops to survive.
If we are not allowed to cultivate this crop, we will not earn anything. We are facing drought and we have no water.
It's not the first time Afghanistan has cracked down on the trade. Decades of failed policies and more than $10 billion spent achieved very little. Opium cultivation almost doubled in size between 2009 and 2020 under the US-backed government, largely due to high-level officials complicit in the trade. But the new crop of insurgents turned politicians say this time is different, accusing drug consumers and producers of being anti-Islamic.
We are working hard to find foreign countries to take this crop, and some countries promise to help us. We are hopeful to have some good achievements.
Whether this 9-month-old government can be the one to finally stop the drug trade remains to be seen. Tyson Whelan, ABC News.
So there you go, with the livelihoods, we keep the trade going. What to do? Where is that balance? But it is very hard and heartbreaking to see those very hard-working people, men, in those very rugged conditions there, and just seeing that all the efforts go in vain. But right now, let's get to our daily India report.
Welcome to the Daily India Report that brings you reports, interviews, features and much more on India and the Indian diaspora. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi meets women boxers who won medals at the World Championship. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on June 1st met women boxers Nikhat Zareen, Manisha Mohan and Parveen Huda, who recently won medals in the World Boxing Championships in Turkey. Zareen clinched the coveted gold in the flyweight 52 kg division with a facile 5-0 win over Thailand's Chitpong Chutamas in the final of the Women's World Championships in Istanbul on May 19th, thus becoming the 5th Indian boxer to be crowned world champion. Mohan and Huda bagged bronze medals. Since winning a gold medal in the flyweight division at the Women's Junior and Youth World Boxing Championship in Turkey in 2011, it had been a difficult journey for Zareen. In the 2019 edition of the Senior World Championships, Mary Kom was preferred over Zareen because of her consistent performance, despite the latter asking for a fair trial from the BFI. Mary Kom went on to claim her 8th world medal, a bronze. Foundation stone was laid at the Sanctum Sanctorum of Ayodhya Ram Temple. The Chief Minister of the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath, took part in the ceremony on June 1st to lay the foundation stone of the Sanctum Sanctorum of Ayodhya Ram Temple by placing the first carved stone in it. The Sanctum Sanctorum or Garbhagriha will open for devotees just months before the crucial 2024 Lok Sabha elections. Yogi Adityanath performed a Shila Pujan in the presence of Ram Temple Trust officials, Deputy Chief Minister Keshav Prasad Maurya and others. He said the temple will be a Rashtra Mandir and a symbol of people's beliefs. The 500-year-old struggle of devotees is going to end and we will have a temple here. There can be no greater moment of pride for any Indian. Invaders attacked our culture, but in the end India has won, the Chief Minister said at the event. Yogi Adityanath's visit to Ayodhya for their ceremony comes at a significant time for Uttar Pradesh. Court cases over disputes involving at least 2 other mosques The Gyanvapi Mosque in Varanasi next to the Kashi Vishwanath Temple and the Shahi Eidgah in Mathura next to the Krishna Janmabhoomi or the birthplace of Lord Krishna have been heard in courts in May 2022. Indian capital Delhi's air quality turns very poor due to dust-laden winds. The Indian capital Delhi's air quality slipped to the very poor category on June 1st due to the dust-laden winds sweeping across the national capital. The 24-hour average air quality index stood at 322 at 4 p.m. It was 215 on May 31st. An AQI between 0 and 50 is considered good, 51 and 100 satisfactory, 101 and 200 moderate, 201 and 300 poor, 301 and 400 very poor, and 401 and 500 severe. The Ministry of Earth Sciences Air Quality Monitor SAFAR attributed the significant dip in Delhi's air quality to the dust-carrying westerly winds. Dust accounted for 71% of the PM10 pollution in Delhi on June 1st. Winds gusting up to 24 km per hour will lead to moderate dispersion in the coming days, it said. Puri in the Indian state of Odisha gets ready for the Rath Yatra as devotees are allowed to take part in the procession. The heritage city of Puri in Odisha is gearing up for the world-famous Rath Yatra as the construction of chariots is in full swing. The second coordination meeting was held under the chairmanship of the State Minister Pratap Jaina for the Rath Yatra 2022. Energy Minister Divya Shankar Mishra and Law and Order ADG R.K. Sharma attended the meeting. The devotees will also be allowed to take part in the Rath Yatra this year. Emphasizing the crowd management, health services, road and transport, train and sanitation and parking facilities was the focal point of the meeting. As a first step out of the 70 vacant posts, 15 doctors will be appointed to the Puri district headquarter hospital immediately. Jaina said we discussed with officials of different departments and servitors of different nichok for the smooth conduct of the Rath Yatra. We are fully prepared to conduct the festival after 2 years of the COVID restriction. Devotees are allowed to Puri for the Rath Yatra. In the view of a large congregation, the administration is taking all the steps for the Rath Yatra. India begins celebrations for the 75th year of independence with an event in the capital, New Delhi, starting the 75-day countdown. Union Minister of State Meenakshi Lekhi on June 1st said that the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is about celebrating everything which is good in India. She launched a 75-day countdown to the 75th year of independence in New Delhi. The program was held at Central Park, Connaught Place, New Delhi on June 1st. On the occasion, Secretary, Ministry of Culture, Govind Mohan, Secretary, New Delhi Municipal Committee, Isha Khosla and all senior officials of the Ministry of Culture and the New Delhi Municipal Council attended the function along with general public. Lekhi said that Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is about celebrating everything which is good in India, everything which every Indian should be proud of, and everything that shows unity in diversity of India. She also said when India completes 75 years of independence, freedom fighters who sacrificed their lives for independence and also those who contributed to keeping India independent should be seen as a guiding light for all of us. She also added that there is a need to live for the country and work for its development. Renowned singer Sukriti Mathur performed patriotic songs. A huge screen is set up in the Central Park facing the Palika Bazaar that has a footfall of thousands every day that will play the countdown for 75 days from June 1st, 2022 to August 15, 2022. The screen will also play stories of unsung heroes of our country to inculcate a sense of pride for our culture and country and bring together people in an attempt towards Jan Bhagidari, people participation as invoked by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Modi had earlier launched a 75-week countdown to the 75th year of independence on March 12, 2021. India has reported 3,712 new COVID-19 cases on 2nd June, nearly 1,000 higher than a day before. India's daily COVID tally saw a rise on June 2nd as the country logged 3,712 cases in the last 24 hours. This is nearly 1,000 cases more than the patients registered on June 1st, when the number was 2,745. The number of deaths due to COVID-19 climbed to 5,24,641 with 5 fatalities in the last 24 hours. The fresh rise comes as part of India, including Mumbai, Chandigarh and Tamil Nadu, witnessed a fresh surge in cases. After an increase of 1,123 cases in the active caseload, the figure has now reached 19,509. The Health Ministry said it comprises 0.04% of the total infections. The recovery rate was recorded at 98.74%. The daily positivity rate was recorded at 0.60% and the weekly positivity rate was 0.56%. On June 1st, Mumbai and Maharashtra reported 739 cases, the highest single-day jump in cases in 116 days. The positivity rate, 8.4%, is the highest since February. India's weekly positivity rate stands at 67%. India mourns legendary singer Keke's death. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid a huge tribute. In a heartbreaking incident, Indian singer Keke passed away at the age of 53 on May 31st. Also known as Krishna Kumar Kannad, the singer died shortly after performing live in a concert in Kolkata in West Bengal state. Reportedly, the singer fell sick while performing at Nasrul Manch in Kolkata. He was reportedly rushed to a private hospital where he was pronounced dead. He is best known for his songs like Pal, Khuda Jaane, Dil Ibadat, among others. Modi said that he was saddened by the untimely demise of Keke, whose songs he said reflected a wide range of emotions. Saddened by the untimely demise of noted singer Krishna Kumar Kannad, popularly known as Keke. His songs reflected a wide range of emotions as struck a chord with people of all age groups. We will always remember him through his songs. Condolences to his family and fans. Om Shanti. Modi said in a tweet. Union Home Minister Amit Shah remembered Keke as a talented and versatile singer. The film fraternity too expressed its condolences. Keke's wife Jyoti and their kids also paid their last respects to him on June 1st. Later, a gun salute was accorded to the late singer at Rabindra Sadan in Kolkata. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee was also seen paying her respects to Keke. She was joined by singer's family. Indian film personalities such as Akshay Kumar, Karan Johar, Kumar Sanu and Varun Grover also paid tribute to late singer Keke. Shah Rukh Khan's new film opposite Nayanthara titled Jawan is to be announced soon. Bollywood's Shah Rukh Khan and Nayanthara will soon be seen in Atlee's film. But the title has been under wraps for a long. Media reports suggest that Jawan is the title of the much-awaited film. The source revealed the film is titled Jawan and the announcement will be made soon by releasing a teaser which is about 1 minute 34 seconds long. SRK and his team are expected to announce the film in the next few days. While Nayanthara will be seen as an investigating officer, SRK will reportedly be seen in a double role in the Atlee's film. Sources say Shah Rukh Khan's first character will be seen in the role of a son who is a gangster and the other would be the father who plays a senior raw officer. The Pathan actor will also use prosthetics just like Kamal Hassan did when he played the role of a father as well as a son in Hindustani back in 1996. Shah Rukh Khan will star opposite Nayanthara for the first time in Jawan, directed by Atlee. In addition to SRK and Vishwasam actress, the film also stars Sania Malhotra in an important role. Shah Rukh Khan's fans are super excited to see his return to the big screen after waiting for almost 4 long years. Apart from Jawan, Khan will also be seen in Varhev's Pathan, which also stars Deepika Padukone and John Abraham, and Rajkumar Hirani's Dunki, which stars Taapsee Pannu. That's all in today's bulletin.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's about all we have for you in this segment. We were hoping to see if we could, have a telecast of a news conference which is about to happen with the Premier, but I think something's not quite right, so they still haven't been able to connect. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned before, this is an action-packed weekend with so many functions and events that are taking place. Well, one word of precaution, even if you're going out there, always take care, exercise care, see if you can, maintain those healthy habits which has been the norm for the last couple of years, and we are now quite used to all those things. So let's see if we can actually keep exercising that. And if you haven't had your flu shots yet, it's time to go and get your flu shots done. So until tomorrow, it's goodbye. Don't forget that tomorrow we also have the doctor's program, Aapki Sehat. So that will be a wonderful program on your health, brought to you by the Indian Medical Association of Queensland. Until tomorrow, it's goodbye from us.